Welcome to the fourth session of our Let Us Pray series. This episode is going to be about how we can use technology to help enhance our prayer life. So you might think, well, why is the old one doing this particular episode? And what's really interesting is that in talking to some people around the office and just in my life, I noticed that for a lot of people in the younger generation, they are so at home with their phone. It is a part of their hand. And as Josh actually says, in order to really enhance his prayer, he needs to disengage himself from his phone. And he jokes about that the best way to pray with technology is to take it in your hand and chuck it across the room so that it is as far away from him as possible so that he can actually pray. But I do find that for a lot of us in a different generation, perhaps, technology can actually help us. It can be a blessing and a curse. And sometimes our phones or our computers can suck us in so completely that we kind of lose track of the outside world, or, we forget to interact with other people and with God. And so it can be a source of not greatness. Technology also can be a source of misinformation and disinformation. So we really do need to be careful. Even Pope Francis talks about the dual nature of technology, that it can be a wonderful source of evangelization, but it must be used at the service of humanity. And one interesting thing fairly recently is that the Catholic Church entered into the world of technology in a new way when Pope Francis joined Twitter, or X. So we can now, connect with our faith in a lot of different ways. Recently, Deacon Daniel had a presentation on faith and science, and he had this wonderful quotation, and I'm not sure where it came from, but I really liked it. It is this: God blessed man with countless talents, both to create technology and to use it for the benefit of mankind. If utilized in moderation and wisdom, technology can be of great benefit to our lives by enabling us to better ourselves, helping those in need, and even allowing us to spread the word of God farther than ever before. So today, what we're going to look at in this session is how technology can facilitate and enhance our practice of prayer. But please, as I mentioned before, be aware, not everything you find out in the world of technology is good or right or true. So just be discerning as you venture out into the cyber world. So I'm going to start talking with some really simple ways that we can use technology as a benefit to our prayer life. Very often people will set alarms on their phones or even on their clocks, to go even more old school, to remind us to pray at a certain time. It's not always that it's never that I don't want to pray. It's just that life takes over and sometimes I forget to pray. So if I always have an alarm that goes off, oops, 3:30, time to pray, that helps me get into that rhythm and stay into that rhythm. I heard of some people using electrical timers, and they put them on a particular lamp. And whenever that lamp goes on, time to pray. And there's a psalm that goes along with this, Psalm 119, verse 105. Your word is a lamp for my feet, a light for my path. And so that can help us remember to pray. Sometimes people will use timers on their aromatherapy devices. And so when a certain scent shows up, it's time to pray. I don't know if they have chrism in that those for aromatherapy, but that would definitely be a good sign that it's time to pray. One thing that we can do, use technology sort of in an anti-way, is setting our phones to do not disturb during our prayer time. Because that way, we're really trying to listen for the word of God, not the ding of, ooh, I got another text. We can also use our timer on our phone if we want to pray for a certain amount of time. Ooh, I'd like to pray for 30 minutes. But rather than continually checking, well, what time is it? What time is it? We can just set a timer to 30 minutes, put it down, and then just go and be with God. We don't invite distraction by having to check our phone for the time. Another way of using technology as a help in our prayer life is having a prayer partner, somebody that we talk with texts or emails or whatever to be a partner with our prayers, and somebody we can send our prayer requests to, somebody we can remind each other that we need to pray for each other, and also just to pray together, to do that together, but still from afar. Um, oh, keeping a list of prayers is a really important thing, both for just sort of number one, if we say to somebody, "Oh, I'd like to pray for you," I will pray for you. I will keep that in my prayers. Write it down so that we remember to actually pray for those folks later. Also, by keeping a list of the things that we are praying for, it sort of puts things in a place where we can make sure we're praying for everything, but then we can also go back and we can update those lists and make little notes of how God has answered those prayers. And we can go back and look at our lists from before to really see how God has been working in our lives, and the things that we might not have remembered. Oh, I did pray for that. But now we can go back and look at that and say, oh, God did answer that prayer. So those are wonderful, very simple things that we can do with technology to enhance our prayer life. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about what are some of the things that we can do on our computers to help. And this again is jumping out into that wide world of the cyber experience. So a lot of times we can sign up for various things to be emailed to us every day. We don't have to ask for them every day. They just show up, and they can help us in our prayer. We're going through our emails. Oh, look, Word on Fire. Bishop Barron has sent me a daily gospel reflection. Oh, look, here's a morning prayer that I can say, or an evening prayer, or a night prayer. Things just show up in my email that I don't even need to ask for more than one time, and sometimes not even ask for. They just start showing up. You never know. But there's a lot of websites out there that will send us those reminders to pray and a certain thing to do, which really is very helpful. Guideposts has a lot of various helps, including their Our Prayer app, and they will send you things each day to pray for. And you can also sign up for various podcasts on prayer. So if you like to listen to audio things and like a book on tape, it's a podcast about prayer, and it can really be a help. And they will just send them to you. What else can you find online? So one big thing, and again, it's various social media sites. And so there's Facebook, there's all the things out there. Again, be careful. You have to go out there with a huge grain of salt, knowing, not all of this stuff is true and good and right. But there are things out there that can help us. Facebook has many Catholic prayer groups that we can go out and join. We can connect with our own friends on there. And even if you can't find something that feeds you prayer-wise, you can start something. You can start a group with your family or with your friends here from church, but you can be in that world and still be looking for things that enhance your prayer. One of the places you can go is YouTube. You're here watching this video, so you're already on YouTube, and there's a lot of different channels out there of different people that will help with prayer life and all kinds of things, Bible reflections, etc., etc. One specific one of those is, again, I mentioned Father Robert Barron, Father Mike Schmitz. They all have YouTube channels, and you can go to those channels, and they will help you learn how to pray and pray different things. You can find online adoration from all over the world. We had a session about adoration, and we do have adoration here in our parish once a week, and we have perpetual 24/7 adoration in the Blessed Sacrament Chapel. But you can also find adoration online. So where, it may not necessarily be as powerful as being in that room with the Lord in the chapel or in the Blessed Sacrament Chapel here, but he's always with us, and he's always in us, and seeing him exposed in that monstrance, even though it's on your computer screen, can also help make that real in a different way, from the from your very own room in your jammies, you can go to adoration. There are also a lot of online music services, both free and some and with a fee, but you can put together playlists of music that warms your heart up for prayer. And that music can draw you into God's presence audibly and visually if you watch videos with that too. Those are things like Pandora and Spotify, and even YouTube has some music stuff too. Ever since the pandemic, which was a terrible time, but also had some positives, Zoom has been a wonderful tool for allowing people to pray together, even if they're in different cities or states or countries. I have a number of friends who are in online prayer groups, and some of them are groups that have been meeting for years and years and years. And when the pandemic hit, they went online and have kept doing that, and it allows them to keep in touch with each other, with folks who have moved away. But they often will pray the rosary together. And as they do that, they're praying together, but they're also keeping each other's intentions in mind. That's a wonderful way to build community while also enhancing our prayer life. One other way of using the computer to enhance our prayer is by live streaming Mass. And a lot of parishes do that. We do that for the 9 o'clock Mass. The live stream is a wonderful way to pray together with a community of believers. One little reminder that, of course, the live stream doesn't fulfill your Sunday obligation to go to Mass. If you are horribly sick or you're physically unable to get to Mass, you're already dispensed, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is a wonderful, watching the live stream is a great way to still be connected. But just a reminder that it doesn't dispense that obligation. Josh made me say that. And the final thing that I wanted to talk about is formed.org. So Formed is like a Catholic Netflix. It has so much stuff on it. It's just crazy. It has movies. It has programs. It has prayer sessions. It has books. It has audiobooks. It has things for kids. It's amazing. And you would get lost in all of the various things that it has there. It is like Netflix in the variety of things that it has, but it's not like Netflix in that you don't have to have a subscription to use it, because the parish does, and it is absolutely free to you to go on to formed.org and look around and watch whatever you want to look at. It's just amazing the stuff you can find on there. So I'm going to go into a description of how you can get onto Formed, as well as a bit of information about what you can find on there. So the first picture you're seeing is actually the homepage for Formed, and it just shows you a bunch of different stuff. So, welcome to Formed. The next picture is a circle up on the top. It says, find your parish subscription. So that's what you're going to click on so that you can find us. Then it says create your account. So all you're going to do is enter St. Mary Magdalene. And I think it says add your zip too, and that's 48114. So you can throw that in there. Then the next picture tells you what comes up. And you'll see St. Mary Magdalene with our address. So there's a bunch of St. Mary Magdalenes in there, which is wonderful. Lots of people use Informed, but you want to find the one with our correct address. If it doesn't come up for some reason, look back on the first page and it has specifically what you enter in, to find our Mary Magdalene. So just enter that stuff and you will find St. Mary Magdalene in Brighton, Michigan. Pick ours. And then you'll see that there's St. Mary Magdalene with our address in the little box, and you just hit next. So once you have our St. Mary Magdalene and you are creating your account, you just put your name and your email address. Now, obviously, those are not your names or email address, but you put your own in and hit sign up. Formed will then send you an email on whatever device you're on. If you're going in from your computer, it'll send you an email. Go to your email, hit that link, and then it'll automatically take you back, and then you will see the next picture, which is the opening page of Formed. Now, what's really cool about this is the next time you go to sign up for Formed, you will actually just hit sign in and it will remember you on whatever device you're on. So you don't have to go through the whole sign up thing again. However, if you would like to access it now from your phone or your iPad, you will have to go through that process again, but it'll send you the email link. You click on it, you hit go, and it signs you into whatever device you're on. Theoretically, it remembers you from now until eternity. However, it's a human program, so every once in a while when I go in on my computer, it knows who I am. I'm on this all the time, and it'll say, I don't know who you are. You have to sign up. So I just go through the email portion again, and it takes me right in. So, there's no fee, there's no password. You just put your name and your email in, and it'll take you right there. So the next picture, once you are on Formed, again, it's like Netflix. There is so much stuff on there. It is just incredible the amount of wonderful information you can find that is just really great information about the Catholic Church, about saints, about how to pray, about the various books of the Bible. There's stuff for kids on there. It's amazing. So the next screen shows you what pops up if you are under the Programs tab. And there's all kinds of things. The Search, which is sort of a beginning Catholic thing. There's information about the sacraments, Bible studies, formation, all kinds of great stuff. The next screen, I just clicked on the movie tab, and that's all kinds of different movie types that you can check on to go see what's under there. The last one is books. There's fiction, there's kids and teens, there's books about being Catholic, exploring the faith, and these are things that you can either read on the actual app, or there are even podcasts and audiobooks in there. You'll see that another tab called audio. There is so much stuff on here that you can't even get through all of it. It's just really amazing. Here's an example of that. The next screen shows you, I entered in prayer into the search box, and what popped up was 98 collections of things, and there were several under books, there were several under audio, and there were even more things that I could find. So that's just prayer. It's amazing what is on there. And this is a subscription that the parish pays for, and every single one of us can go on and use as much as we want for free. And I encourage you to go in there and look around, because there is just an awful lot of stuff on the formed.org website. And I'd also like to add that they do have an app that you can put on your phone that makes it a little easier to maneuver around on your phone. So that's all wonderful stuff, and I encourage you to explore that. So before we go on to looking at some of the wonderful apps that are out there, your leaders have some discussion questions for you. So now we're going to take a look at some very specific apps that can take this piece of equipment and turn it from a bane into a boon. So this next session is going to be talking about the various apps that we can find on our phones. And perhaps the very first question is, how do I get to the App Store? Well, if you have an iPhone, your App Store app looks like this. If you have an Android phone, your App Store, or the Play Store, that little button looks like this. So you go to the various App Store, whichever one is appropriate, and you can search for the various apps that we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about 3 of them specifically. And the first one is the Hallow app. And this is probably one of the most popular apps out there right now. The first, if you go on your computer, this is what you might see, the very first screen. And one really cool thing about the Hallow app is that some parts of it are completely free. Right now, there's a 30-day free trial to see if you like all the parts that are involved, but you can at least go in and check it out, and many of their most popular things are free no matter what. And the second picture that you're going to see is some of the things that the Hallow app offers. So once you go into your your phone and you're in your app store and you want to look for Hallow, you put that into the search thing. Here is the logo that you're going to look for. This is the correct app to download to your phone. So you download this particular app and you open it up, and the very first thing you see on the home page is a picture of the Bible in a Year launch. And you notice that it says January 1st, Intro to the Early World. And what this means is that even though we are in November, you can start at the very beginning. You don't have to wait till January. You can do the Bible in a year, which is right now. Start whenever you want. The next screen that we have is join the challenge. And basically they often will have prayer challenges where you are part of a wonderful large group of people who are praying for a particular thing. Right now we're praying for the election for our country. There's also various things in there that are featured. So what's popular right now? What are people looking at? Then the next picture, we see morning routine. So you can pick your daily rosary, your daily gospel, or reflections. There's some stuff there on All Saints Day. Lots and lots of things about various different saints. We mentioned music and going to Pandora or Spotify or whatever, but they have their very own radio stations that you can listen to of all kinds of different kinds of music. They also have trivia, one of my very favorite things. I love the trivia stuff. Probably one of the things that gets used the most from the Hallow app is the Bible in a Year, which we talked about, or Catechism in a Year. And both of those you can start right now, anytime you want. You can listen to more than one day at a time. You don't have to catch up or, be too slow. You can do that on specifically your own schedule. And then it's time to go to bed. So the nightly routines, prayers, etc., go to sleep Bible stories. How long has it been since you've had someone read you a bedtime story? You can go on this app and learn wonderful things as you fall asleep. And the voice is wonderful. The person who's reading you the story, just great. We find again, there's more music, there's scripture reflections, rosaries, not sure where to start, and it just starts you with the basics. So you click on that and it'll take you through the entire app. So the next app we're going to talk about is probably the number one completely free Catholic app, and this is Laudate. And here is what the app logo looks like. So when you're in your app store and you type in Laudate, which is Laudate, you're going to find this logo. And then you go to the home screen once you have downloaded this particular app, and you find a very long list of all kinds of different things that you can do. It's really amazing. One of the things is the Liturgy of the Hours, and it gives you a way to pray the prayers of the Catholic Church all through the day. Then you can find the Rosary and Chaplet information, and it's all kinds of different rosaries and different timings, different chaplets of that. It's just really a great way to pray the Rosary, but have different experiences of that each time you do. There's prayers for the Station of the Cross, and they talk about each of the stations, especially as we get into Lent. That's going to be something that we're going to want to do a little bit more. And then there are millions of prayers, just prayers. And I went through that and I was looking at it and I was going to count how many prayers were in this whole app, but there were 26 that just started with A. So I figured I'm not going to count them all. Just suffice it to say, there is a bunch of stuff. Many, many, many prayers on here, prayers that we probably have never even heard of, which is really cool because it gives us more opportunity to learn new things and to build that relationship with God. One's really kind of cool is you can even find Latin prayers on there. And if that is not something that you have grown up with or experienced with, it's really very reverent and it gives you a new experience in your prayers. And finally, one of the things I wanted to highlight is that there's a whole page on Catholic media that gives you some links to get you to other things that you might want to be looking at. There's Bible commentaries, there's adoration all over the world, there's Holy Mass worldwide, there's all kinds of different things, and in there is a bunch of stuff that will help us with our prayers. And even at the very, very bottom of the homepage, you'll find Vatican documents. So you can, sometimes sort of hard to pray actually with Vatican documents, but if your prayers lead you to need answers to questions, here's a great way to go find them. So the final app that I wanted to talk about is called Pray As You Go, and that is just spelled exactly like it sounds. And this ad also is free. And here's a picture of what that logo looks like and what you should be looking for with the Pray As You Go. And the front section of it has a menu, and you go in and it talks about daily prayer and other prayer. And so if you choose daily prayer, the first screen is a daily prayer, of course, for whatever that day is. So I took this picture on Tuesday, November 5th. So it has a 13-minute prayer that you can go in and you can listen to that prayer. And above it are some tiny little buttons, and they allow you to read the prayer as well as listen to it, or you can share it with others. You can go to different days. You can, click the heart to remind yourself, oh, I really liked this particular prayer. And so that way you can pray by listening, by reading, and then sharing it with others. The next screen shows a timer that you can use to reflect on the prayer. And it suggests, starting maybe with 60 seconds and then getting longer and longer in your reflections. One of the great parts about this too is that you can enter your own prayer journal. We talked earlier about having that prayer journal. Well, this is an app that helps you actually do that. So you can do that journal. And then there's the last part is pray more, and you can discover all kinds of different things. There's quick prayers, there's the examine prayer, there's lots of other categories, which is wonderful. Also on this app, the Pray As You Go app, you can find various series of different kinds of prayers, and they will take you through things. There's retreats where it will lead you on your own spiritual journey. And, special prayers is really a lot of wonderful, wonderful prayers in this Pray As You Go app. So I encourage you to go look at all three of these apps to help bring your prayer life to life. And I wanted to show you one other picture. And this is a picture of a friend of mine, and it's her prayer section in her phone. So there's just a very big assortment of different ways on here to pray. And it reminds us that we can use technology to help us on our prayer journey. So your leaders have more discussion questions for you at this time. So it's great looking at those specific apps that can help us pray. One other place to find a lot of great stuff is a Bible app. And there are a million Bible apps out there. And they can be really helpful if you travel, because a Bible is not necessarily super travel friendly because they're big and thick and heavy. But if you have your computer or your phone with you, then you can always have your Bible with you, ready to read. The website called Bible Gateway is a great place to find many translations of the Bible. And so you might have the question, well, what translation should I be looking for in order to be reading a Catholic Bible? One of those that is a great one is called the New American Bible, Revised Edition. And this is the one that is the closest to what we hear at Mass. And it's often called the NABRE, or Neighbor Bible. Another favorite of folks is called the Revised Standard Version, Second Catholic Edition. And this is referred to as RSV 2CE. Remember, make sure it has the Catholic edition in there. The Great Adventure Bible from Ascension Press, and this is the picture of that one, is also a great Bible to use. And it's a lot of people really like that one in particular because it has a lot of explanations and sort of it sets the scene really well. And that's a really nice Bible. I really enjoy that one. Another one that you can find is the English Standard Version, the Catholic edition, and that's the ESV-CE. See, we're hearing all the Catholic in there. They sort of tell you if that is the right one for you. But as someone wise often says, and this is Josh, just so you know, the best translation is one that you will actually read. So the Bible Gateway website, I mentioned that it has a lot of all of these translations on it. You can go on there, and it's a really easy way to explore the various translations to find one that you really like. And since there are Catholic Bibles and other Bibles, other Protestant Bibles, the quickest way to check to see if it is a Catholic Bible, if you can't, if it doesn't say Catholic in the title of it, is to see how many books are in there. A Catholic Bible will have 73 books, while a Protestant Bible will only have 66 books. Now, if you don't want to necessarily have to count every time, an easy way to check this is to look for one of the extra books that we have in our Bible, like Tobit or Maccabees. And if it's in there, it's a Catholic Bible. So that sure was a lot of information, both about Bibles and about apps and things on the computer and all of those other things. But the whole reason we went through a lot of technology is to help, hopefully, find something new that can help to enhance your prayer life. By embracing technology, we can find more ways to deepen our relationship with God, to stay accountable in our spiritual practices, and to connect with other believers in prayer. We should always try to prioritize a personal connection with God, but using technology to strengthen our prayer life, we can continue to grow in our faith.